Hi, and welcome to The Wrongest of Ways. And today we have a comparison between three new, sort of small-ish suspension wheels that are kind of more on the budget side. So let me tell you more about it. Wrong way. So today we are in a different location. This is actually the Grizzly headquarters. Thanks to Grizzly, we have the opportunity to check out both the V9 and the Nosfet Aero. Grizzly is the manufacturer of both the Grizzly sync pads. We are in Poland, in Wrocław right now, and the flow pads. And behind all of that is also the co-owner, or sorry, what I was supposed to say? Co-founder of the company, Arek. Probably you've talked with Arek before.
Yeah, I'm answering all of your emails.
Yeah, he's answering all of your emails. He's and along with a lot of other people here, they are working on your pads, on your bumpers, and kind of nice to see it that this place exists. It's very tidy. It's awesome. So yeah, huge thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
Also, huge thanks to Monokolo. This Begode C8 is from Monokolo. If you want to learn in Warsaw how to ride on an electric unicycle, then head on over to their site. Today we will just have a first look. It's powering great outside. We wanted to go out and ride, but even though those wheels are waterproof, it won't give you like maybe a good perspective on those wheels. With that said, all of those wheels are in between €1,500 and €2,500. It's a little bit of a price span, but they are around about a similar category, but they're meant for totally different purposes. This video is sort of to show you what the purpose of each of those wheels is. So first, a quick overview on those three wheels. The InMotion V9 is the cheapest of the bunch at €1,550. And by the way, if you want to get any of those wheels in Europe, feel free to check out One Ride and use my coupon code WRONGWAY to get a 5% discount. Also, do receive a little bit of a kickback for those orders. It also has the smallest battery of the bunch at 750 watt hours. I would say about a 30 to 40 kilometer realistic range. Now the Begode C8 has the biggest battery of the bunch at 1500 watt hours. So I would say around 50, 60, maybe even 70 kilometers of range, depending on how you ride on it. It's also the heaviest of the bunch, 31 kilograms of weight, and it's slightly cheaper than the Nosfet usually. So this is at around €2,200. Now when it comes to the Nosfet, this is the newest company out of those three. 1100 watt hour battery, highest voltage here, 126 volts. This is 84. This is also 84. It will have probably the middle amount of range, so between 40, 50 kilometers, but probably if you ride off-road, you can get a lot less than that. And I would say this is probably the most sort of off-road focused wheel out of the bunch. The most expensive as well, so you need to keep that in mind, probably at around €2,300. Quite a bit of money for such a wheel. Now let's talk about batteries, because this is the most expensive part in a PEV and also a very important part. And sometimes it's very difficult to distinguish the details between different battery packs. So I'm here to tell you what is inside of those electric unicycles and what is the perspective on long-term use, on performance use, on use of those batteries in different circumstances, and whether parts will be actually available for a long time. Begode. All right, so starting with the InMotion V9, I would say this has the cheapest setup. It is the cheapest wheel, and the batteries inside are 21700 cells, which are BAK cells. So it's not Samsung, a little bit of a budget option. Will it do? Probably, but I wouldn't say that it's the best option for long-term use. Maybe after using the wheel for 2, 3, 4 years, you might be encountering some sort of issues. I don't know. It does have a smart BMS, so it does have cell balancing. Out of those three wheels, it should be the safest theoretically, because it has the UL 2272 norm, which is for e-bikes and e-scooters, which is great, but at the same time, cheapest batteries. So your mileage may vary. It might be a little bit emotional. And the charging time is very slow here. You just get a 2-amp charger in the box, so what, 4 to 5 hours actually, 4 or 5 hours for a small battery pack. I would like to have something faster out of the box. Now optionally, you can also get this 4-amp charger for it, and then it charges in around 2 to 2.5 hours. That's a lot better, but yeah, you can also super fast charge it with up to 1C charging, which is around 16 amps. That's crazy. Just slow charge it wherever you can, and this should be safe and good to go anytime. Now when it comes to the Begode the Begode C8, we have either the Samsung 50GB cells or Samsung 50S cells. So those are already much more higher quality cells, and if you want to have a little bit more performance, if you're a heavier rider, if you want to climb a lot of inclines, just go for the high performance cells, the Samsung 50S. This battery pack should also have the biggest power sort of headroom because it's the biggest pack. It has the most parallels when it comes to the battery pack layout. And out of the box, we get a 5 amp charger, 84 volt, 5 amp. So around what, 2 to 3 hours for a full charge, something around that. Now moving on to the Nosfet, here we have also an option of 50GB or 50S. Here we have a smaller battery pack, just 2 parallels, but a higher voltage. So theoretically it should be more efficient because it has a higher voltage, but at the same time, less parallels means less available headroom and possibly more sag. This is something that I would need to find out in a deep dive of the Nosfet Aero, and this is something that I will actually do. There is a Nosfet Aero heading my way, so that's pretty cool. When it comes to charging, stock we get 5 amps. Do we get 5 amps? At 126 volts, it's actually very quick. So this charges the quickest out of the bunch, probably around 2 hours. Serj is behind the camera just showing me the 2, yeah. This also has a smart BMS. This has a smart BMS. All of the wheels have a smart BMS. Look at us. I was pushing for this so hard throughout the years, and now we get it, even in the smallest wheels. In general, I think when you pick all of those wheels up, if you ride it in rain, it should be fine. Just don't drown it, don't drench it, don't do stupid things with it, and just be careful when it's like really powering down or it falls into a puddle. Other than that, you should be pretty good to go when it comes to those wheels and riding in rain. Now let's move on to features, and here I'm actually very surprised because throughout the years, I was always complaining about something in wheels. Either it has a good light, but doesn't have a good trolley handle, or it has a good mudguard, but it doesn't have a good bumper. And here, it's a very level playing field on a pretty high standard. So let's start with the lights on those wheels. All of them have a cutoff beam. This one, I think, is the strongest one with a daytime running light. Now this has a round beam, so a bit different to what you need on the street, but still a cutoff point, won't blind others. Also angle adjustable, just like on the Aero. And on the InMotion V9, same thing, same light as on the V14, angle adjustable, daytime running light, and also a cutoff beam. So front lights, nothing to complain about here. All of those wheels have very solid mud guards, both in the front and in the back. We were just riding in damp weather. You can see that quite a bit of dirt buildup on the Nosfet. Here in the back as well. The InMotion, just clean. On the back, also just clean, pretty much. Here, quite a bit of dirt here, build up on the back. Yeah. This is the best all-weather wheel by far. Also, when it comes to trolley handles, this is the one of the InMotion. Locks on the top, so it is the best one. You can also hang your helmet here. It feels really good, actually. The trolley handle on the C8 has a small latch here. It's a little bit jank. How do you actually use it? It's here, this way?
Yeah.
This way, boom, and then it goes up. Doesn't lock on the top, doesn't have also more friction on the top, so it does work, but not the best, but it does at least lock on the bottom. But you need to be really careful with the lock on the bottom because it also works as a sort of way to pick up the wheel, and you can like eat it up by accident if you don't like keep this locked securely. On the Aero, here we have also a locking mechanism, so very nice. It does lock on the top a little bit. I think there's some friction in the handle. Nice height, nice grab handle. It doesn't feel as premium as on the V9, but it will do the job tremendously well and locks in place. I'm just a bit worried about the metal here, whether it will not like scratch over an extended period of time. Now when it comes to features, we also have to talk about the pads, and just the Nikola comes out of the box with pads, and those pads are not the best, to say the least. I mean, they sort of do the job, but really, in today's world, I wouldn't really ride with such a side pad on the wheel. Now, probably depending on the dealer, you might get some out-of-the-box pads with the wheel. I don't know, maybe you need to pay for them. And if you actually are already paying for them, why not get solid pads? why not get the Grizzly? Yeah, so the headphones weren't so loud after all. No, I mean for real, like those pads are great. I've been using them for a while and they're best for jumps and they're really comfortable. So if you actually want to ride in a performance way with your pads, either get the usual flow pads, and they're pretty great for all kinds of riding, you know, accelerating harder, braking harder to keep you safe on the wheel. But if you really want to be aggressive, then yeah, this is the way. These are the new Sync pads. Also made a video in collaboration with Grizzly a while ago. And yeah, those babies, they make every wheel weak. This is just pure power. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind, that you need to pay additional maybe 100 or 200 euro to actually make the wheel ride a bit better. But with the V9 being the lightest and most responsive, not really sure if you 100% need them, but I would probably still ride with pads, especially if you're beginning to ride, not to just like get yeeted off from the wheel. Also, none of those wheels have a seat. Something to keep in mind. It's a short distance. You can stand maybe you can stand it, maybe you can seat it, but you can't seat it because there's no seat. Now I'll talk about the wheels a little bit individually because I want to show you the suspension. Best feature, if you know, you know. If you're an OG InMotion user or any InMotion user, you can turn it on the kickstand. Wow. Like, if you know, you know. Wow. So anyway, you can see here that we have a very readable screen on the top. Very simple, just speed. It shows that it's in park, so the motor is not engaged. We have 100% battery. You can also, of course, change the units. We don't have any touchscreen, but I think those parameters are enough. We have a button here to turn on and off the wheel and turn on and off the front light. Now let's also show you the pads, the pedals. Something very similar to what we have on the InMotion V13. Milled-in studs, a little bit long, so not too shabby, but you know, I prefer an MTB studs, but they seem to hold not too badly. Now, the wheel has a little bit of an edge here, so maybe it's best to put some foam in here to make it more comfortable. How does the light look? Yeah, here we have the red light and the turn signals also. Boom. Oh man, the turn signals are just a gimmick, but I do like the side light, looks pretty cool. Now on the suspension test, suspension feels the cheapest out of those three. Not only the sound, it's very linear and it has the least amount of trouble. So I didn't like the V11 suspension all that much. I just think you either have it pumped up too strongly and then it's like a trampoline, or you have it too low so it doesn't really work all that much. I would probably prefer to have a V9 without suspension, just to have it even cheaper and it would still work. It will eat up a little bit of the bumps, definitely the least comfortable way out of those three. Also, for a sort of wheel with a 750 watt-hour battery and 15-inch tire, this thing is like pretty huge. It's pretty big. Let's get this behemoth down. Oh yeah, the power button is in the back. Have to hold it for a long time. And now we can also see the tail light. Boom. I like those a lot. I don't know why, but Begode just decided to have an edge here. And this thing hurts. Like, this thing hurts as hell. You definitely need to put some foam in here. Otherwise this, or like have knee pads that have like shin protection on the side, because this thing is absolutely horrible. And even when putting these pads on the wheel, you still feel it. Like this is very uncomfortable. When it comes to the display, it's a little bit visible. You can see the mode here. Battery readout is very small, so it's like that different. You have a Begode, just because we have a Begode. That's the full mileage of the wheel, temperature of the motherboard. It's nice that we have the display here. Just doesn't look so refined. And if it's really, really sunny outside, then it's not that readable. Now the suspension is adjustable here on the side, so this is already a little bit better than on the V9, and it's not air suspension, it is oil sort of spring suspension. So this is a little bit more travel, and you know, it just sounds so much better. And you can see how it does still make sounds, but this just, you know, it's even no comparison. if you care about comfort of your ride, you can see that difference is absolutely huge. And you can also adjust the rebound and compression. So yeah, suspension a lot better on a C8. Still not, you know, the biggest amount of suspension that you can get, suspension travel. A world of a difference to the V9. Oh, it's light and small. It's wonderful. When it comes to the Nosfet Aero, let's take a look at the screen. The screen is by far the best. By far the best out of those three. It's like the one that you have also on your Casio watches or Timex watches. You can see it in all conditions, and it's also lit up. So you have plenty of data here, and you have 4 buttons to like choose various parameters. You don't need to connect to an app. You just have it right here. You can put it on park mode here. It's the button. You can turn on the light in different strength settings. Which one is it? This one?
No.
This one?
Yeah.
So you have a dim, strong, and even stronger. Boom. Almost feels warm to the hand. Here on the display you can see the speed, obviously. Here's the battery level, and here's sort of the momentary power draw. So if you have really a lot of power draw, this will go up. Also, the light, very bright. I think it's the best of the bunch, really. You can also have different settings. Wow, that looks cool. Off, dim, and this probably also like goes brighter if I brake. Super nice, super bright, nice light. Love it. Now when it comes to the pedals, they look very unusual. They have a basin for water. I don't know, it's just a different design. I don't really like how they look. I don't like how thick the studs are. I don't like the lack of studs here. I would say that those are the worst pedals out of the bunch. Definitely Begode. Oh, I forgot to tell about the Begode pedals. Like if you compare those two and you look at your foot, not only are the Begode pedals wider, they have more studs. The studs are thin and they actually grip your foot. So like this actually is good. And here it's like, it's very different. So I would say this is the worst pedal of the bunch. The Begode has the best, and InMotion is in the middle. Okay. Arik was insisting I should test actually if the pedals are bad when wet.
Okay. Try it now.
Actually, maybe they're not as bad. Maybe they're not so bad. A little bit, but no, you know what? After riding a little bit, I recorded the first footage inside. Actually, those pedals are not too bad. Not too shabby, but the mud can still build up here. Those are also pretty narrow. See about the suspension. And it feels very much like a sort of pattern with slightly less travel. Or is it the same amount of travel? It feels a little bit more bouncy. When it comes to rebound and compression setting, they are on each piston separately. So on the top, with this small screw, you set up the rebound, and on the bottom, with another one, is here, yeah, another small set screw, you can set up the compression. A little bit confusing. I hope this doesn't break or anything. It doesn't seem like it's in a place that it would break, but that's how we have it here. And the preload is the big screw here. This is the red one. So you have the settings here. So in terms of suspension, I would say InMotion V9 by far the worst. Then we have the Nosfet, which is pretty okay, and I think with serviceability it will be also relatively easy. We don't have a lot of models, so it should be relatively easy to do. And my favorite is definitely on the C8. All right, so even though this video already took a while, I still didn't go over every single detail on those wheels. I could talk forever about them. There's nuances, there is history, there's lore, there is memes, like I could go on forever. I want to compress it a little bit and tell you now the TLDR of those wheels. Now, if you're already looking at this review, then you're considering wheels. Of course, in the same price range, you can get an e-bike, you can get a regular bicycle of a pretty good quality, you can get scooters. I will talk mainly how this sort of product looks on the market. So when it comes to the InMotion V9, this is the cheapest wheel. It is affordable, it will get you 5 to 10 kilometers comfortably. Like if you don't care so much about, you know, the biggest comfort, if you just want something cheap that works, that is from a reputable company and from a company that produces a lot of products over many years, like it doesn't like spit out products like crazy like Begode, then you know the InMotion V9 might be for you. Just keep in mind that in terms of power and range, it will be a little bit on the weak side, especially if you're a heavier rider. You might overpower this. In terms of electric unicycles, power is quite important. If you're over 90 kilograms, you will just need to ride a little bit more carefully with this wheel. The features are great, the pedals are good, the lighting is nice, the screen is good, smart BMS, UL 2272, and for around €1,550, like for a last mile solution, for something to yeet into the car, not too shabby. And when it comes to the InMotion C8, I would say that this is the most long haul wheel of those three. It's the most universal. It has the biggest range, it has great batteries, and it's slightly cheaper than the Nosfet Aero. And now, when it comes to Begode, they have a track record of doing products that are different every time they go out of the factory. So you need to keep in mind that maybe you need to tinker a bit about it, with it. Maybe there'll be something going wrong. When I had the Begode M10.5, for example, I had a random cutout on it. So even though this might be the best value for money, you might just get a product that will be maybe not as satisfying as it could be. In the long run, Begode makes a lot of models, so you don't know how long you will have a part support for it. But as it comes out of the box with the pedals, with a good light in the back, actually great working suspension, amazing performance, a lot of headroom, I would say that this is the best wheel that a all-rounder would use. So you can take this to a group ride. You will need to charge if it's a longer group ride, but you can get it to work. It's a very small footprint, and it will be the most comfortable out of the bunch. Not only because of the suspension, but also because of a slightly bigger tire. This is 16 inches. It's a 12-inch rim, right? It's a 12-inch rim, while those two have a 10-inch rim. It also will feel the heaviest of the bunch. You just make sure you just put something here, like. Now, when it comes to the Nosfet Aero, I think it's a very complete performance package that doesn't have all that much range, but a lot of fun. It feels very light. It's even like light to pick up, and it has great features, like the best screen out of the bunch. I think also the best light in the front, both in the back, a great kickstand, great mudguards, and also great performance. But this comes also at a higher price. Keeping that in mind, I don't think it's perfect. I have to say, like those pedals, Either like upgrade them, get some aftermarket pedals. This will not do the job well. Like if you want to ride through the city, then yes. For a wheel that is, I think, designed a little bit around performance and more of a sporty kind of riding. On top of that, you need to also spend money to get some decent pads on it. So while these wheels are cheaper, you can maybe afford the initial pads, and you get a little bit more performance in return. Here not. You will just need to keep in mind that you need to spend a bit more money on the Aero. With that said, I think it's a pretty interesting package, especially with the weight, with the small size, with the sort of playful character. I didn't ride it a lot, but I know that the feeling is very playful. Lots of performance, just with a limited range for a slightly higher price than those wheels. So I hope this was somewhat helpful. I talked for a long time. I am brain rotted. And if you're still here, leave a like on the video. Subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.